Good evening, it's 8 o'clock. The top headlines tonight. 84 years old, suffering from Parkinson's disease, Father Stan Swamy dies in custody in a private hospital in Mumbai. He dies on the day of his bail hearings. Father Swamy worked with tribals in Jharkhand, charged under the Anti-Terror Act. Political and international condemnation pours in at his death. Petrol now over a century in most state capitals. Congress holds protests across the country. Mamata Banerjee writes to the Prime Minister as fuel prices are hiked once again today. The Prime Minister announces the CoWIN app will be made open source, as saying that India is giving CoWIN technology to the world. Karnataka unlocks today as cases are down. Meanwhile, in Delhi, one of the busiest markets, Lajpat Nagar market, is shut for COVID laxity. 12 BJP MLAs suspended by the Maharashtra Assembly for a year as the Speaker says he was attacked by them. Meanwhile, BJP Sena talks hit a dead end. Is it the Fadnavis factor? As Sena MP Sanjay Raut says, BJP Sena are like Amir and Kiran. We are friends, not enemies. The ex-president Pranab Mukherjee's son Abhijit Mukherjee, an ex-Congress MP, joins Mamata Banerjee's party. Sad, tweets his sister Sharmishta. Uttar Pradesh elections coming soon. The CBI acts against a project cleared by ex-UP Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav. The Gomti Riverfront project. Once again, is it agencies versus the opposition? Today, the Bombay High Court recorded that it is with a heavy heart that we record the death of Father Stan Swamy. Father Swamy was an 84-year-old priest. He was an activist working with tribals in Jharkhand who was arrested against the tough anti-terror law, the UAPA, last year. He died this afternoon in the middle of his fight for bail on health grounds. Political and international condemnation has poured in at the death of Father Stan Swamy.
मुझे बॉम्बे जाने के लिए भी अभी मजबूरी की जा रही है।
This is something that is unacceptable. Accountability must be fixed and punishment must follow.
It is in this hospital in Mumbai that Father Stan Swamy died this afternoon. Ironically, the news of his death announced to the court during yet another bail hearing.
Father Stan Swamy tested positive for COVID when he was admitted to the Holy Family Hospital on the Bombay High Court's orders. He managed to fight off the infection. On Sunday, his condition deteriorated swiftly and he had to be put on ventilator support. On Monday morning, he suffered a heart attack and died on Monday afternoon in the ICU of the Holy Family Hospital.
Father Stan Swamy had repeatedly alerted the courts about the risk to his life, telling the High Court in a recent hearing that I would rather die if things go on as it is. I would like to be with my own. Jail has brought me to a situation where I can neither write nor walk. Someone has to feed me. Political condemnation has poured in, including Rahul Gandhi and Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan, both holding the government responsible. International condemnation too, from the special rapporteur of the European Union and the United Nations, who said they had raised Swamy's arrest with the Indian government. Fueling the outrage were the doubts over the charges against Swamy, who was arrested along with several other activists in the Bhima Koregaon case for alleged Maoist links and even plotting to kill the PM.
Father Stan Swamy's body will be taken to a government-run hospital for a post-mortem as he died in custody. His body will be then handed over to Father Fraser Mascarenhas, a fellow Jesuit priest. His last rites will take place here in Mumbai and not in Ranchi or Jharkhand, where he worked for most of his life. With camera person Ashok Mahadik and Arvind Gunasekar in New Delhi, Saurabh Gupta, NDTV.
Did the criminal justice system, did the political system fail Father Swamy? Why is it that a priest who was known for working with the poorest of the poor, with those marginalized, was facing charges of terror? Who better to hear it from than Father Stan Swamy himself? This is an interview he gave on the 8th of October last year, where he talked of what he felt about the charges against him, and also he said that he wasn't being singled out. This was happening to many, many others.
I was interrogated for 15 hours during a span of 5 days. Apart from my biodata and some factual information about Bagaita, about Patalgadi issue, about Bhima Koregaon movement, etc., for which whatever they asked I provided, and some persons whom I had come across in this process. They started to put before me certain extracts supposedly taken from my computer. Extracts which were, Maoists were communicating with each other. And in some extracts even my name was mentioned. So they said, where did he meet? My first question was, who is the person writing? To whom was it written? On which date it is written? Is there a signature to what is written? None of it was there. So I just denied and disowned every single extract that was put before me, except one, where Sudha Bharadwaj and myself, we were the co-conveners of this PPSC. We had issued a call to all human rights organizations all over the country, explaining what PPSC is about and requesting them, pleading them to come join hands so that it's a common effort. So these extracts were all interpolations put into my computers. I just want to end by saying, what is happening to me is not something unique happening to me alone. It's a broader process that is taking place all over the country. We are all aware how prominent intellectuals, lawyers, writers, poets, activists, student leaders, they are all put into jail just because they have expressed their dissent or raised questions about the ruling powers of India.
Father Stan Swamy speaking himself of what happened to him. He argued in court also, saying that he wants to be with his own before he dies. Today, Father Swamy is dead. Moving now to other news. Well, the petrol prices, fuel prices hiked once again today. So, in many state capitals, petrol is now over 105 rupees a litre, and in many others, we are now over a century a litre. In Delhi as well, prices of petrol are nearly at 100 rupees. Also, diesel prices going up across the country as well. Now, remember, diesel, of course, also crucial for farmers, trucks, transport of vegetables. So, it has an impact on food inflation as well. Let's just look at this ground report on what the rising fuel prices actually means for people.
I'm at a petrol station in Chennai's Mylapore area. Today the petrol price is 100 rupees and 78 paise per litre. I'm filling for 1000 rupees. To break it down, the petrol cost is only 400 rupees. Around 600 go as taxes. How does it impact? Well, 6 months ago when the petrol price was 88 rupees a litre, I was able to drive 121 kilometers for every fill. Now with the same car, the same amount, but I'm able to drive only 109 kilometers. That's 12 kilometers less every time.
மெயினாக நாங்கள் ஃபுட் அண்ட் யூட்டிலிட்டிஸ், அதாவது வெளியே வாங்கி சாப்பிட்றது ப்ளஸ் வந்து நார்மலாக க்ளோத்திங்ஸ். ஸோ அதில் கொஞ்சம் கம்மி பண்ணால் அட்லீஸ்ட் இதில் இது பண்ணலாம்ல. அட்லீஸ்ட் முன்னாச்சு 80, 70 அந்த மாதிரி இருந்தது, ஓரளவுக்கு ரன் பண்ணிட்டு இருந்தோம். பட் இப்போ வந்து 100ன்னு இருக்கிற பட்சத்தில் ரொம்ப டிஃபிகல்ட்டாக இருக்குது.
The cost of petrol and diesel is higher in Rajasthan than anywhere else in the country. Now, why is that? That's because the VAT in Rajasthan is the highest at 36%. Also, there's an additional road cess on fuel, 1.75 rupees per litre. The dealer commission also has a value-added tax, and the brunt of that is borne by the consumer. So, for example, in Jaipur, petrol is at 106 rupees a litre. It's even higher in its westernmost district, Ganganagar, where it is at 110 rupees per litre. But how are consumers coping? The middle class consumer is the worst hit.
बहुत फर्क पड़ गया बजट में तो. पहले एक हफ्ते चलता था, अब 4 दिन चलता है.
पहले यूजली आई वॉज ट्रेवलिंग विद क्विड, मेरे पास गाड़ी थी 4 व्हीलर. अभी मेरे को बाइक से काम करना पड़ रहा है. अदरवाइज जो है जितनी सैलरी आ रही है दैट इज़ ऑल ऑन, मतलब जो है पेट्रोल में प्लस घर के खर्चे जो है उसमें हो जाता है.
And the opposition now raising the issue. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has written to the Prime Minister on fuel prices, saying the cess component has been increased so that states are not getting a share of the tax. She says that fuel prices have been raised 8 times since the 4th of May. They've been raised even more, and asking for the central tax to be rolled back, saying the Trinamool will hold protests on the 10th and 11th of July. This as the Congress has also held protests around the country today, with the Youth Congress holding bullock cart marches against the rising fuel prices in Kerala. Petrol is now over 100 rupees in Kerala as well. The Congress is saying the centre and the state are equally accountable for the unjustified hike. Meanwhile, Tamil Nadu's Chief Minister M.K. Stalin was out cycling. Well, not apparently a protest against the rising fuel prices, but perhaps making a symbolic point as well. He was apparently an avid cycler earlier, but this is the first time he's been out there cycling after he took over as Chief Minister. Well, the latest COVID data, vaccinations this Monday have fallen to well below 40 lakh per day. If you're looking at a 7-day average so far, vaccinations today on the 5th of July are over 43.3 lakhs. So it's a better start to the week. But as you can see, the 7-day average, it has been pretty erratic. So way below the 1 crore a day. Prime Minister Modi today, addressing a COVID global conclave, has said that India will now offer the CoWIN platform as a digital public good to other countries to run their own COVID-19 drives. This will now be open source.
Indian civilization considers the whole world as one family. The pandemic has made many people realize the fundamental truth of this philosophy. That is why our technology platform for COVID vaccination, the platform we call CoWIN, is being prepared to be made open source.
Meanwhile, our special report from Karnataka, where the state has virtually unlocked everything today. Maya Sharma has this report.
Buses in Karnataka have been running for some days now, up to 50% capacity. But now, they can be filled up to the seating capacity. All the seats can in fact be full. Bengaluru's Namma Metro 2 can run at full seating capacity. It has also extended its hours. But like the buses, ridership will take time to pick up. Malls have been allowed to open after months. This mall is vaccinating its employees.
We, the Garuda Mall, want every one of us who enter the shopping center, who are working in the shopping center, our employees, anybody, whoever comes, we would like to, if they have not got themselves vaccinated, we would like to get them vaccinated.
Even in standalone shops, which were allowed to open earlier, business is still slow.
ಕಸ್ಟಮರ್ಗಳು ಕಾಯ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದರು. ಇವಾಗ ನಾವು ಕಸ್ಟಮರ್ಗಳಿಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಕಾಯಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ತುಂಬ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇದೆ, ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಅಂತೂ ತುಂಬ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇದೆ.
Temples once again open for darshan in Karnataka. This is after months of being closed due to COVID-19 restrictions.
ಮೇಡಮ್ ಈಗೇನೋ ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಒಂದು 2-3 ತಿಂಗಳು ಏನು ಜನ ಬರದೇ ಇರೋದೇ ಒಳ್ಳೇದು ಅಂತ ಅನಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ಈಗ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಜನಕ್ಕೆ ಕೋವಿಡ್ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಇದ್ದರೂ ಕೂಡ ದೇವಸ್ಥಾನಕ್ಕೆ ಬರ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಒಂದು ಕಿವಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬೀಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋ ಕಾರಣದಿಂದ ಏನು ಹೋಮ್ ಐಸೋಲೇಷನಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದರೂ ಕೂಡ ಆಚೆ ಓಡಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಇದೆ. ಅದರಿಂದ ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನಮಗೂ ಭಯನೇ ಉಂಟು.
Bengaluru's infamous traffic returned a while ago, but authorities hope that with the lifting of more restrictions, it is not considered business as usual by the public. Mobile squads will be on the prowl to find violators of COVID protocol. With Nandakumar and Govind Murthy, Maya Sharma in Bengaluru for NDTV.
And Delhi, where latest cases are down to just 54, has of course been opened, but today one of the biggest markets of the city, Delhi's Lajpat Nagar market, has been shut because of violation of COVID norms. That's the third market in Delhi to be shut in the last 2 days. Those are shots of course earlier, and there you can see Delhi's busy Lajpat Nagar market completely shut down today, and earlier shots of crowding in various Delhi markets. Well, let's go across to all the politics, and the latest from Maharashtra, where the assembly session began today, is that 12 BJP MLAs were suspended over apparently attacking the assembly speaker. They've met the governor, and the BJP is holding protests, but this comes amid a larger backdrop of a possible BJP Sena patch-up, which has now reached a dead end, apparently because of the Fadnavis factor. But Sena MP Sanjay Raut said that the BJP Sena relationship is like that of Amir Khan and Kiran Rao.
BJP MLAs targeting the speaker as the assembly reopened over not allowing them to speak over the OBC reservation issue.
या बाजूचे अनेक सदस्य आतमध्ये आले आणि माझ्या आई बहिणीवरून शिव्या देऊन आतमध्ये घुसले. असं कधीही माझ्या आयुष्यामध्ये घडलं नाही, पण आजचा दिवस हा माझ्या आयुष्यामध्ये काळा दिवस आहे, लांछनास्पद दिवस आहे.
After the speaker narrated the incident on the floor of the house, Parliamentary Affairs Minister Anil Parab passed a resolution suspending the 12 BJP MLAs, including prominent leaders like Ashish Shelar, Girish Mahajan, Atul Bhatkalkar, for 1 year. Leader of opposition Devendra Fadnavis called it a manufactured story, although on the floor of the house he admitted the incident took place.
हे जरूर आहे की आम्ही सगळे रागात होतो, तिथे बाचाबाची झाली, त्यानंतर आपण एकमेकाचे गळे भेटलो, सगळे भेटले, तुम्ही भेटले, आशिष शेलार भेटले, एकमेकाच्या गळे भेटले. जर काही लोक ठरवून विरोधकांची संख्या कमी करण्याचा प्रयत्न करत असतील तर हे योग्य होणार नाही.
This clash came amidst reports that the Shiv Sena BJP talks for returning to an alliance and ditching the current alliance with the NCP and Congress had hit a dead end. BJP sources say no question of Fadnavis shifting to Delhi as Union Minister, and if there was to be a patch-up with the Sena, there is no question of Uddhav Thackeray staying CM. Shiv Sena MP Sanjay Raut agreed with Devendra Fadnavis' statement that Shiv Sena and BJP are not enemies while ruling out the alliance.
हम क्या भारत पाकिस्तान है, हिंदुस्तान पाकिस्तान नहीं है ना. ये मिलना जुलना होता है, बातचीत होती है, लेकिन अब हमारे रास्ते अलग हो गए हैं पॉलिटिकली. और फडणवीस साहब का भी यही कहना है, राजनीति में अगर रास्ते अलग होते हैं, आप देखो आमिर खान और किरण राव रास्ते अलग हो गए लेकिन दोस्त है, बोला ना वैसे है ये.
The speaker election has still not taken place, and now with the weaker opposition, it needs to be seen whether the government will go for the speaker election in the next one day. Also, this rift has come in when there were speculations that Shiv Sena and BJP could be doing a backdoor discussion. In Mumbai, with camera person Rajendra Dayalkar, this is Purva Chitnis for NDTV.
And with Uttar Pradesh elections early next year, the CBI has swung into action, this time registering a fresh case against a project, well, in a sense, spearheaded by the ex-Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav. The Gomti Riverfront project searches were carried out today in around 42 locations, including 40 in UP and 1 each in Rajasthan and Calcutta. Ex-Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav is not named as an accused in the case, but this was one of his pet projects which was really showcased during the time he was Chief Minister. Well, for the Congress, another ex-MP has left the party. Ex-President Pranab Mukherjee's son Abhijit Mukherjee has joined the Trinamool Congress. Seen there today joining the Trinamool. His sister Sharmishta Mukherjee, who is still in the Congress, has tweeted that it's sad. Here's what Abhijit Mukherjee said on why he left.
That I thought that it's time to strengthen the hand of Mamata Banerjee ji was fought singularly against BJP's onslaught. I repeat, BJP's onslaught on Bengal and particularly is not our culture. Second, the way she fought back that has been appreciated across the country. In Bengal, Congress is not utilizing me. I am not even called in my own constituency.
Meanwhile, in other news, in a blow to economic revival, the latest PMI for services shows the sharpest contraction in 11 months. The PMI, or the Purchasing Managers Index, is based on inputs from purchasing managers in various firms and shows the current trends. It's a vital input for bankers and investors. The PMI has fallen to 41.2, which is the sharpest contraction in 11 months. Let's just look at the markets today. Well, the latest numbers, the Sensex there up by nearly 400 points. The Nifty also up as well. This because of cases falling and also a relaxation in curbs and a rise in daily vaccination. Well, let's just look at the latest India comparison to the world. Now, while India reported over 39,000 cases in the last 24 hours, this is still the highest number by any single country. Cases are declining, whereas these are rising again in several countries like the US, UK and Russia. And India's cases per million are now lower than the US, UK and Russia, according to our World in Data.